Hey, what's up guys? Money with Yumi here, where I talk about anything and everything related to money and how to grow your wealth. Today I want to share with you guys a few ways where you can turn $1,000 into $1 million. And no, this is not some kind of get rich quick scheme. It's not some complete bullshit scam where I'm going to tell you to pay for a course or a seminar. Because in 2020, $82 million were lost to scams, and one of the top scams was investment scams. So no, because I hate those piece of motherfucking shit T-by motherfuckers not they think they can always get away with it, but they're complete full of
A few moments later.
Now that I got it off my chest, I feel so much better. Rather than paying for some bullshit day trading course that probably isn't gonna work for you, why not listen to some free advice instead? Because who doesn't like free stuff? I know I do, because if there's free stuff, the auntie in me, the Ajuma, is gonna go there for sure. And just to put it out there, I'm giving all of this information for free, and all I ask for return is a thumbs up. So please smash that like button for me. And if you did, thank you so much. I'm not gonna lie, investing in stocks can get a little bit complicated if you're talking about day trading, trading on margins, call and put options, all that kind of stuff, but for the most part, it can be relatively easy. Just that a lot of people, like maybe yourself watching this, simply don't know where to start. A lot of you guys probably want the fastest and quickest solution for turning $1,000 into $1 million, just like how the get rich quick scams are advertised. And I'm sorry to have to break it to you, but investing is not lottery, and you can't turn $1,000 into $1 million overnight. Honestly, the quickest way is for you to get good at stock picking like Warren Buffett, and then get really lucky, because luck does play a part sometimes. If you invested $1,000 in Tesla in 2011, you would have made 140x your money, or around $140,000 in profits in 2021. And then use the $140,000 to find another 10x stock to get to $1 million. But like I said in my previous videos, stock picking is hard, and the majority of investors can't beat the market. It's like, do you expect to double your salary like one day after you start a new job? No, right? Investing is similar. It requires finesse and patience and the right mindset before going into it. And if you really want to stock pick, then learn it and then be good at it. The concept for turning $1,000 into $1 million is simple. Invest early, be consistent, and hold for as long as you can. All you need to do is to invest in one of these four things: an index fund, an ETF, a REIT, or try Roboinvesting. Let's say you're 20 years old now, and you put $1,000 to a S&P 500 index fund that has a steady 7% return after adjusting for 2% inflation. When you retire 45 years later, at age 65, your $1,000 would have turned to $21,000, or 21x your money, without you doing anything. But if you invested an additional $1,000 every month consistently for 30 years, by age 50, you would have $1,141,141. If you put that money into a regular savings account that doesn't pay any interest, you would only have about $360,000 after 30 years. So just by investing $1,000 a month consistently for 30 years, you have just 3x your money. And if you invested $1,000 every month consistently for another 10 years, bringing that to a total of 40 years, you would have doubled the amount you had after 30 years to a total of $2,410,595 versus the $480,000 if you put it into a regular savings account with 0% interest. Now with 40 years of consistent investing, you have just 5x your money. And this, my friends, is the power of compound interest. And remember, our calculation already accounted for the 2% inflation rate per year, but the $480,000 did not account for any inflation. This method has been historically proven, and it is idiot-proof for newbie investors. So how can you invest in index funds in Singapore? Unfortunately, the options are limited, and there's only one that's worth looking into, which is the Infinity US 500 Stock Index Fund by Lion Global Investors. And they partner up with Vanguard, which is one of the pioneers that created index funds. And this fund is sort of like a feeder fund into the muster fund of Vanguard's US 500 stock index fund. You should be able to buy this fund direct from Lion or any of these banks like OCBC and Standard Chartered. It does have a minimum investment of $1,000 and a subsequent investment of $100. But this is one of the few funds in Singapore that offers a regular investment plan without charging you a ridiculous fee. Exchange-traded funds or ETFs are similar to index funds, but are traded like regular stocks. So you can buy and sell an ETF during regular trading hours. Some ETFs to consider are the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, ticker symbol VOO, SPY, which is one of the world's largest S&P 500 ETF, ARKK that focuses on innovative tech companies like Teladoc, and ARKF, which is focused on fintech. There are hundreds and thousands of ETFs out there, so just find one that interests you. All you have to do is to just Google blank ETF, like automobile ETF, cosmetic ETF, tech ETF, gold ETF, F&B ETF, there are just so many, and whatever you can think of, there's probably an ETF for it. If you're buying ETFs with this dollar cost averaging method, make sure you're buying it from a brokerage firm that doesn't charge any commission fees, like TD Ameritrade. This is very important because a lot of brokerage firms in Singapore still charge a commission fee for every single trade. And if you have to pay a commission fee every time you buy in, like once a month or twice a month, then this dollar cost averaging method wouldn't make sense anymore. A real estate investment trust, also known as REITs, is a company that owns, operates, or finances income-generating real estate, and they are also traded like ETFs or stocks. It allows investors to earn dividends from the company's real estate investments without having to buy or manage properties on their own, which in turn give investors more liquidity. In the US, REITs are not just limited to commercial and residential properties like many of the REITs in Singapore. There are a wide range of REITs like public storage REITs, cell tower REITs, data center REITs, and even REITs ETF. And some of the ones that I personally own are commercial mall REIT like Simon Property Group, SPG, data center REITs like Digital Realty Trust, DLR, or telecom REITs like American Tower, AMT. But if you're looking specifically for Singapore REITs, I personally like Mapletree Logistic Trust, ticker symbol MLT, Mapletree Industrial Trust, MIT, and Parkway Life REIT, PRKWF. Roboinvesting is a relatively new form of investing, and like the name suggests, it is based on automated computer algorithms that can help manage and diversify your portfolio across the board into different funds, classes, and assets, which you can then allocate a target weight to each class, like 20% to emerging markets, 10% to bonds, and 70% to stocks. Just for shit and giggles, I have been trying robo-investing here in the US since 2017 just to compare it with my own stock picking performance, and I have been getting on average 11 to 13% a year with robo-investing. The returns are not too bad considering I made zero effort in researching. All I did was simply just to set up automatic payments where I'm investing a fixed amount twice a month with 90% stocks and 10% bonds. So obviously I wasn't trying to 2x or 10x my money. There are a few options for robo-investing in Singapore, and some of them have a higher expense ratio and management fees, while others have a higher minimum investment. So if you're looking for one that has no minimum investment and a reasonable expense ratio, then StashAway would be a good option. They charge 0.8% a year up to $25,000. If you want one with a cheaper expense ratio, Auto Wealth is a good alternative if you have a minimum of $3,000 to invest. The expense ratio of Auto Wealth is at 0.5% plus $18 a year. Knowing about these four methods of how you turn $1,000 into $1 million sounds relatively easy, doesn't it? But most people don't have the resilience or patience to invest consistently throughout their lives. We're not even trying to time the market here. We're not buying low and selling high. We're not looking at some stupid chart every day because that's what traders do. We as investors, we don't do that. Now, what we're making use of is the dollar cost averaging method, where we're buying into the market consistently for a very long time, between 20 years to 40 years, depending on how old you are right now and how early you start. And yes, you need to also have that self-control where you're able to resist any temptation of spending your money when you have seen how much your investment has grown, but instead to reinvest that money so you can make more money. Let's say you're invested in a fund that not only grows 7% a year, but also pays a 3% dividend. If you reinvested that 3% dividend, your money is going to make you rich much faster. And yeah, that 3% might seem like small stuff right now, but over time it adds up and the effects can be astounding. Just like the 30 versus 40-year comparison. Here's what I want you guys to start thinking. Before buying anything, and I mean anything, think about its current value versus its future value. If spending that money is going to make you happy, then maybe you can and should buy it. But if you're spending $100 a month on maybe Grab, Uber, or taxi just because you woke up late and had no other choice, then maybe you should reevaluate your life choices and priorities. Ask yourself this question: how many times have you wasted money on things you do not need or ended up regretting? And I know some of you might not have $1,000 to invest every month. And if you still want to get to $1 million but don't have $1,000 to invest right now, you can try reducing your expenses, getting a second job, or finding a side hustle. I strongly believe that if you really want something, you would find a way to get there. After all, where there is a will, there is a way. And if your goal is not to reach $1 million before you retire, then play around with the compound interest calculator and find something you're comfortable with. Because at the end of the day, it's not my investment, not my numbers, it's yours. And remember, the key is to be consistent, have patience, and start investing now. And this is why I've always emphasized to only invest money you can afford to lose. That way you don't have to worry about needing the money. You can just let it grow over time with no interference. When I made what I thought was my first pot of gold, I could have bought Birkin bags, travel the world, or buy a Lamborghini, but instead I used that money to buy my first investment property in Singapore. And that's all I have for today. Hopefully you guys realize that investing is a long-term strategy and not something that can be achieved overnight. If you have learned something from my video, please give me a thumbs up by smashing that like button and subscribing to my channel so you can learn more about financial literacy. And follow me on my Instagram. I really appreciate you guys watching until the end, so thank you and have a great day.